Well, it's Friday the 2nd of October. Right on cue, the full moon in Aries applied heat to our collective story. We're now off the ledge, adrift in full narrative space. This is episode 2039 of 301 Permanently Moved Online, a personal podcast 301 seconds in length, written, recorded and edited by me, at the JMO. 3 warm welcomes to anyone that has joined the feed after my conversation with Matt and Holly on interdependence.fm. If you're hearing this as a back episode, then I encourage you to go subscribe to their Patreon and support their work. I enjoyed speaking with them. It's been a while since I've had the opportunity. My favourite part of the conversation was when I derailed whatever we were talking about to go on a rant about Enya. It was very on brand. I'm serious about wanting to make a 6-part mini-series about her life and work, by the way. If you'd like to help make it inevitable, please do head over to thejmo.net/support. This week is more of a missive than an essay, as I've had several things that I'd like to mention for a while. Firstly, I have an audio piece called The Dust of the Sun in the newest edition of the online web mag, Bog, as well as an embed of episode 2025, All Art is Dust Eventually. Head over to bog.life and check it out. Bog is fast becoming one of my favourite online publications. Bog build a digital garden for each issue. It feels a bit like the early web in aesthetics, but the back end is all JavaScript and CSS. Definitely worth spending some time checking out. The first issue, on prehistory, is set up using Play Canvas as a 3D world that you can explore in the browser. It's awesome to be excited by a website in 2020, so do go check it out, links in the show notes. Unsound Festival 2020 began yesterday, online from the 1st through to the 11th of October. There's a bunch of amazing looking webinars and streams happening. I'll link to the schedule in the show notes as well. If you support the festival on Patreon, you can get the Unsound 2020 Intermission Festival book, which includes a piece from me called Insufficient Tolkien, a memoir/essay about being a teenage conspiracy theorist. I cover conspiracies versus InfoWar and how to deal with narratives outside of one's worldview. So do support the festival if you want to read that. As always, they're doing amazing work. I've also yet to mention that I wrote up my solarpunk talk from last year's Unsound Festival called Life in the Future Beyond the Rusted Chrome of Yestermorrow. It's about why solarpunk is punk, cultural fracking, a common theme around here, cyberpunk, solarpunk as a mimetic engine, and more. It's been well received and recaps a lot of thinking that's appeared on Permanently Moved before moving into my other work. I was hoping that it would be announced already properly, but I've signed the contract, so it's probably okay to talk about. I've sold my first sci-fi story called In a Storm of Fire. Yay me! Co-written with the award-winning speculative fiction writer Andrew Danner Hudson, who incidentally was the first guest on my new YouTube show, Come Internet With Me. The story is out next month as an e-anthology. More on that once it's up for pre-order. The last of my announcements is that I've started putting scripts from the old episodes online up on thejmo.net. It's taking way longer than I thought it would, but that work is in progress. So far, I've done about a third of the shows and just have under 60 episodes left to put online. You can find them at thejmo.net/permanentlymoved. Originally, I wanted to collect episodes with similar themes into PDF zines like I did last year, but having the collections on the blog makes more sense to me in the long run. Speaking of PDFs, my Your Attention is Sovereign zine just passed 10,000 downloads. It's been online for over a year and I'm thinking of taking the link down soon. If you haven't got a copy, then you'll find it at thejmo.net/zine. I think now would be a good time to read or even reread it given what's coming up. But let me reiterate 2 points that are important to me. You, personally, get to decide where you put your attention. By acknowledging this fact, you take full responsibility for where you have put your attention in the past and where you will put it in future. So turn off the feeds and cultivate a healthy media diet away from social media. Listen to more long-form podcasts, get yourself an RSS reader, and follow more blogs. Social media has caused our understanding of the moment to become compressed, providing information without context or history. The infotainment industry will keep calling things unprecedented when in fact they are far from it. Events always sit inside a continuum, proceeding one after another. Television news has no memory beyond the last ad break. Twitter and Facebook have no memory at all. The only way to contextualize stuff in the feed is to haul it out of the slurry with a quote tweet, but even then it will quickly sink below the surface. Get your information from sources that don't move a mile a minute. It's also important to remember that every tweet you make is feeding the machine, one that is designed to convert your attention into money. Every post you make gives the machine more value and more power over you and other people. We all need to collectively take more responsibility for our attention and where we put it. Consume news in retrospect. It's much healthier to read about what happened yesterday than try and make sense of today, moment by moment. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll speak to you all next week.